Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today's discussion will entirely be on how to remain steady in our sadhana and how to exactly purify the mind. Because without this, nobody can hold this knowledge. And how to keep that insight continuous. And so how to attain to the supreme fulfillment of life. This, what is called Jivanmukti Vivek. Jivanmukti is to be liberated while living, not a post-mortem liberation. So, here and now, how can we live in the consciousness of Brahman? That will be discussed. So, you see, there are many points which they are giving us. How to resort to places where there is quietude, where there is silence, where there is holy company. Now, you know all this. Especially holy company, there is really no parallel to it. If you are in the right company, the mind will naturally get lifted. And if we are not in the right company, you will have to struggle a lot to bring the mind under control. So that's why places matter, spaces matter, people matter. And if we don't have the occasion for that, then definitely you resort to scriptures and videos and all that. But if you have an ashram close to you, definitely you should utilize the space. Go out of the way, but bring your bodily self into the holy space. That is important because, physical spaces also affect the mind. And you must actually go there and imbibe those vibrations. So all this is of great help to the sadhak. But the greatest help in purifying the mind is devotion to God. See, that is why, Sri Ramakrishna always would say this Brahma Shakti Act. He would say this, isn't it? Which means what? Nirgun Brahman and the Sagun aspect of Brahman are not two different things. It's the same thing. I don't know how some people think they are two different things. See, just like how we have a Nirgun aspect, isn't it? The Atman shining within you is Nirgun. And you also have a Sagun aspect. Your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Like that, even Ishvara, the Supreme Being, has both these aspects. They are both aspects of the same being. So we must use Sagun Sakar Upasana to purify the mind. It is not contradictory to any Advait Vedanta. It's a one seamless reality, and we must be able to utilize this. If there is devotion in the heart, you don't have to struggle with the mind. It is so simple. If there is no devotion, then only all the struggle. What is the nature of devotion? The mind melts into the form of the Lord, into His bhav. What more will you want after that? Tell me. Devotion, the very nature of devotion is the mind will melt with Bhagavad Bhav. It's a supremely purifying experience. The mind gets imbued with divine qualities automatically. Just love the Lord and everything is taken care of. All the preliminaries of Vedanta, whatever we have been discussing, just through love of God you can attain to that. So there is nothing higher than bhakti. Please know this. It is only when we don't work on this that all kinds of distractions can come into the mind. See, really tell me, if there is love for God in the heart, will anything else matter more to your mind? Nothing else will matter more. That becomes like the most precious experience of life. So you just cling to that. And it goes on purifying the mind. Because the very nature of that divine is purity. And even the worst of minds, it can clean up in no time. Look at the people who would come to Thakur. You have read the life of Girish Chandra Ghosh? Yes? See, if you haven't, it's there in the library. Please take it. And see how the mind gradually gets completely cleaned up just by devotion and faith. So these things are, don't think they are opposite to this Advaitic path. Not at all. It's all, you are using this particular method to go into the actual state of, because Advait Jnana actually leads to Advait Bhav. And Advait Bhav itself means the perception of non-duality in actual experience, first-person experience. So it gives that Abhinna Drishti or Ekatma Bodh. And that is what is called Bhakti. So these two keep intermingling, okay? The Jnana Marg and Bhakti Marg, they are not two separate roads they keep intermingling in the life of every sadhak. Both play out according to our sanskars. One of the marga will be pradhan, one will be main, but everything is going to work out in our inner spiritual life. So take care of this. If we want to now understand these verses, next few verses which he is going to tell us, you must know the means to it. The means is love for God. And this kind of a love will purify the mind even unasked. That sadhak maybe doesn't know all the problems with his mind, but just his devotion to God, his faith in God has removed those problems. You have heard of Kalipada Ghosh? Shune. What a life. See, he, as a young man, he had not come to Thakur, but his young wife had come. And she had pleaded with Thakur to give her some remedy for her husband's state of mind, because he was a huge drunkard and he was well off. So he was just wasting money and ill-treating his wife. And that young girl had come to Thakur. That's how we get the first introduction to Kalipada Ghosh. He was a friend of Girish. Both were huge drunkards. And when this girl came to Thakur, she only prayed for her husband. Set his mind right, give him good habits, bless me, and he must have been torturing her in various ways. So then Thakur said that lady in the Nahabat will help you. You go there, and which means Holy Mother. And then this girl went there, and mother said, but Thakur is everything. He holds all the power. So you go to him. Then again the girl came here, and Thakur again told her, no, she holds great power. You go there. So then you see mother heart melted, and she gave that arghya offered to Thakur, and she gave her that Charnamrit, and she gave her like how to worship the divine, and she said, you place this in your home, your husband will slowly correct his ways. Now this girl took it home, and with full faith she did what mother had told her, but it took 12 long years to change Kalipada. And that girl was extremely patient and humble. See, this is the glory of Indian womanhood. However the husband is, she clung to that faith. And after 12 long years, this Kalipada slowly made his way to Dakshineshwar. And he was drunk. The first time he actually came to Thakur, he was no longer young at that time, but he was inebriated. And he enters Thakur's room, and then he shamelessly asks Thakur, do you have something to drink? Thakur looked at him, and as soon as he entered the room only, Thakur made a statement, He said, look, this man is coming to me today after tormenting his wife for 12 years. So he made this statement, and there were many people in his room. And he came and inebriated Kalipada and sat close to Thakur and said, do you have something to drink? Even Girish would do this, So Thakur would actually say, the bottle in his carriage, bring and keep it here. He will ask for it. Then this Kalipada, when he asked that question, Thakur said, yes, but the drink I have, if you drink that, you will not ask for any other drink. Amo na che amar kache. Then he said, Ki. Vilayati sharab. Is it British wine? And then Thakur said, no, it is pure desi. It is Indian wine. It is mother's name. And then he's so shameless. He said, please give me little of it. Give me little of it. And then Thakur touched him. Bas. That was the end of the old Kalipada. And gradually his mind was, that's what I'm telling you. Even a person like this, coming in proximity with this kind of a blazing fire, holy company, got changed. And then Thakur gave him mother's name. Actually, what happened was, you remember that boat incident? Once Thakur was going to Kolkata and Kalipada landed up there and he said, I'll take you by boat to Kolkata. Now he had a vested interest, for some reason he was doing that. Sri Ramakrishna was in ecstasy, he didn't understand. And he took him by boat to the middle of the Ganga. Dakshineshwar, you have to cross the Ganga to go to Kolkata. So in the middle of the river, Kalipada suddenly fell at Thakur's feet and said, see, when I die, I will see only darkness, because he knows what kind of life he has lived. I will see only darkness. But in that darkness, I want you to come as light and guide me forward. Please bless me. And he held on to his feet. And Thakur said, Thik ache, hobe, ma ke bolbo. He didn't leave his feet. Na, eta kortei hobe amar jonno. He wouldn't leave his feet. You must bless me. Because at that time, a very graphic description he gives actually. He said, at that time, when I die in my last moment, I will see only darkness. But I want you to come with a lantern in your hand. And with your other hand, you hold me and take me to the world of light. You must do this for me. I won't leave you. And then Thakur said, okay, I will do this for you. I bless you. But still he would, no, promise me you will do this for me. Then actually Thakur gives him a mantra. And he's not even he doesn't even want to do that mantra. And Thakur says, okay, mantra will have its own effect. You have this faith, the mantra will have its own effect and I will be there in your last moments. And it actually happened. During on his deathbed, he actually saw Thakur. He expresses it and he told the people who were standing there. At that time, nobody wanted to even be near him, but he told them, put a seat, Thakur has come. And in full bliss, he left the body. So this has happened to many devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. At the last moment, he will be there. One whom he has accepted, he will liberate. Amadarna ettai hope ache. This is the great hope for the spiritual aspirant, that the Sagun Sakar aspect of Brahman will come to us as we want him and lead us by the hand. If we have that faith. So remember, faith and devotion go hand in hand with knowledge. Don't make them into separate compartments. Why I cannot have faith, so I'm going into the Jnana Marg. No. At some point or the other, you will understand the value of Sagun Sakar Upasana. We have a huge emotional self. Where will you give that? How can you live without love? You will give it to God in his Sagun Sakar aspect. And Tini Taranhar, he will liberate us. He will liberate the mind naturally because he responds to devotion. So you see, these are all the ways to purify the mind. And if bhakti is there, you are saved in a sense. If bhakti is not there, we are in serious trouble. This is not just about inquiry and, those who have got it just by inquiry have had a huge bhakti past. Yes, they have done huge bhakti sadhana because the whole mind has come into one flow and then the inquiry has been done and that's how they have been able to achieve it. So the whole point is, we must learn to tackle every element of our mind. Bhakti sadhana chhada hoy na. Shejane, you must employ every method. possible. This was Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. You will find how beautifully does all these paths have intermingled in the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And even Swamiji said, the 4 yogas are to be harmonized and practiced, not compartmentalized and separately practiced. No. We have all these elements, so they have to be brought together. Now you see here the points he is giving. Vidyaranya Swami, he says, go to page 120, the 65th verse, Vicharita Malam, that one. Vicharita Malam Shastram Shiramudgrahitam Mithaha Santyakta Vasanan Maunadrite Nastyuttamam Padam. Nasti Uttamam Padam. A steady and concentrated study of the scriptures and discussion on the truth with the teacher and other learned persons lead to the conviction that the calm of deep reflection born of the disappearance of the last vestiges of desires and passions is the highest state. See, this is the state of mind to be achieved by dwelling on the scriptures, by discussing and hearing the truth from the teacher and other learned persons. That conviction born of deep reflection, which is totally bereft of desire. Is this a small thing, tell me? A mind completely bereft of desire. This itself is a siddhi. So this is the highest state, he is saying. Because when you practice meditation, you will understand this. The only thing that will deflect your attention is desire. Why, after years and years of Vedantic study or japa or whatever you're doing, why no experience? Oh, this is the only reason. At some point, the attention gets deflected. It can get deflected. If there are strong sanskars of desire, of want, of lack, of passion, it gets deflected. So you are compromising on your own will. Right? So you won't attain the goal. Your own mind will tell you whether you will attain the goal or not. That is why I said practice meditation. Long sitting will tell you why you cannot sit, why you don't want to sit. Many of us are wanting to want the goal. We are not wanting the goal yet. Please see this. We are wanting to want because we are dissatisfied with what is there. And so the Vivek has come, we are now wanting to want, but not actually wanting. Unless you have a repeated glimpse of the higher state, how will you want it? That is why mystical experiences are important. They convince the mind of the higher truth. It's a puro graded path ache. Only when you do the sadhana, you will know this. Some mystic experience comes, you see light or you feel intense love for God. That is a huge gain for that day. Next day, you are building on that. Third day, it has become a solid sanskar now because you have repeated it. This is how mystical experiences help towards higher knowledge. So don't discount them. If the love of God is there, it will save you from love for other beings. The wrong kind of attractions. So love of God is to be cultivated. Don't compromise on all this at all. Thakur bolte na jo so kore okhane jete hobe. Somehow you have to find your way to there. So employ all these methods. See, the disappearance of the last vestiges of desires and passions is the highest state. Chaitanya Thakur bolte, he gave us a formula, na? What is that formula? Pure mind is equal to pure buddhi is equal to pure Atman. The Atman is not different from the pure mind for the simple reason, pure mind becomes the perfect reflector of the light of consciousness. Now you can't see the difference between that light and the real light. You get a full glimpse of what is the truth. Right? And the densely packed mind with all tamasic tendencies will not reflect any light. So that is the problem which we have to now tackle. Mon Shuddha Hole, the truth is ever there. It is so simple actually. So that is why pay attention to each point he is making. Now you go to verse 66. Vikshipyate kadachiddhi karmana bhogadayina puna samahita sa syat daivabhyasa patavat. If sometimes, owing to actions performed in previous births, the mind of a reflective man is distracted by desire, then it may be brought back to a peaceful state by the constant practice of spiritual meditations. See, this is what I am saying. You build on your sadhana and your mystical experiences. Every day you go on building on that. Day by day, the mind will go on getting purified. Someday you were praying to God and tears came to your eyes. You know what a huge gain that is? So don't think it is a small thing, a bhakti, tafiki or emotional vyapar. Don't think like that. You don't know the ways of the mind. Until we reach the ultimate state of Brahma Jnana, all these are important. Prayer is of greatest importance. It will bring your will into correct orientation. When you are praying to God, you cannot fool yourself. You will only be asking what you want. So your will comes into complete alignment with your goals. And he responds. When the prayer is sincere, he will give you the power to achieve that goal. So prayer and meditation, worship, japa, all this is to be employed. Bhakti sadhana. কেউ আমাকে বলে, so that really surprises me. আমি ভক্ত নয়. I like the Jnana Marg. It is not true. You don't know yourself. Nobody can say, I don't require Bhakti Marg. Nobody can say that. Yes. So, do all of this and that's why you see here, the mind of a reflective man also can be distracted by desire. Chandide ache na jnaninam api chetamsi devi bhagavati hi sa baladakrishya mohaya mahamaya prayachati. Even a jnani, she can generate desire in the mind of a jnani, the Divine Mother. So take care of your mind. That is sadhana. And then, but this kind of a thing can be, the mind can be brought to a peaceful state by the constant practice of spiritual meditation. If there is no sadhana, you can be sure you will backslide. One will slip from the ideal. Daily meditations, prayers, and worship forms, seva, karma yoga, every day it has to go on. Gradually you build the sanskars for the higher life. From time to time you will get mystical experiences, deep devotion to God, which will keep purifying the mind. Finally you come into the state of rarefied awareness or whatever you call it. So the sadhana is to be kept up. Very nicely he has given, you see. Another point is the prarabdha or fructifying karma. It will keep, fructifying in your own mind. That has to be dissolved through practices. Are you getting the point? We discussed this. Prarabdha karma is a slice of your sanchita which plays out in this life. Now, you don't know what your sanchita is like, but you can get some glimpse of it through the way your prarabdha has gone so far. Now, this entire prarabdha will get exhausted in this life, so it will play out in your life. Different situations come, different circumstances come, different people come into our lives. And our spiritual life may go a little like this, rather than like this, or like this. So then what do you do? All that time you take the aid of all this. Keep your sadhana strong. This is what they are saying. You see how beautifully this sadhu is telling us how it happens. If you have developed bhakti through constant practice, this will hold your mind at a particular level through all circumstances. See, if you are only yoga margi, you remember this. Practically, I will tell you. You are very much interested in meditation. After a certain age, you will not be able to sit long. What will you do? That is why bhakti has to be cultivated. If you are a jnana margi, there will be times in your life when the mind is agitated. Your inquiry also is sort of, you have done it for long, but it is not taking you to the same state every time. What will you do? So that's why you develop all the yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Raja Yoga. You must be able to utilize the other yogas when you can't do one. Practically, this happens in the life of every sadhak. There are ups and downs in spiritual life. But beyond a certain point, you should not backslide. If there is no sadhana, that will happen. So take care of all this, because no spiritual achievement happens suddenly. It will only happen as you go on purifying the mind. By the grace of God, anything can happen, but that grace also comes only to the sincere, isn't it? Thakur says this in the Gospel. If you have sincerely striven for long, Abhyas Yoga, then the grace of God comes. Then he says, go to 67, Vikshepo yasya nasti asya brahmavittam vitvam na manyate brahmaivayam iti prahur munaya paradarshinaha. That man whose mind is not subject to distraction is not merely a knower of Brahman, but Brahman itself. So declare the sages versed in the scriptures of Vedanta. You see, this is the whole point of a mind which is totally undistracted, unsullied by desire. That mind is not just it knows Brahman, it becomes Brahman. Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. So complete purging of the mind. You see, this is the sadhana. This is not put forth like this many times, but this is the precondition for that state of complete fulfillment. The best way you can achieve all this is, before the mind reaches the pre-critical stage, the critical stage, before that is the pre-critical stage. When it is the pre-critical stage, you put the right sanskars. As early as possible, if you begin, a lot of things can happen. Once the mind learns to doubt and get into all sorts of confusion, into all sorts of... That's why you see Thakur would pick up youngsters and all that, isn't it? Mind must be, to a great extent, that a sanskar-free mind. If we have not been able to do that, at least now, see how the mind can be clarified and purified, because then only it will reflect this light. See what he is saying, that a mind totally bereft of desire will attain that state of Brahma Vidya, Brahma Jnana. You have read in the Puranas, isn't it, the stories of so many rishis. They went through so many kinds of experiences before they came to this knowledge. Vishwamitra, Gayatri Mantra, I keep talking of those stories to young people, because you see, the whole point is this. The clarity of mind required for this achievement is very high. No other knowledge puts this as the precondition, isn't it? Why? Because that is vritti jnana. You just train the vrittis, you will manage that knowledge. But this is not vritti jnana. So whatever he is saying, we have to pay attention to that. See here, there's a nice bit of commentary also. The term knower of Brahman is liable to convey the idea of distinction between Brahman and the knower. To obviate this difficulty, it is said that he verily becomes Brahman. Obviously, if you have understood the process of meditation, you will understand how Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. There will not be any doubt. Those who don't dive into meditation only have doubts as to how knowledge translates into being. Knowing and being, what's the difference? This doubt you will only have if you don't meditate. If you meditate, you will know at once, knowing at the highest level is being. If you want more clarity on this, you see the video all about meditation. Usually I give that in every class for the simple reason, you must understand what meditation means. Meditation and Samadhi are not ordinary states of mind. Darshana darshane hitva swayam kevala rupatah yas tishtati satu brahman brahmana brahma with swayam. One whose mind does no longer dwell on whether he knows Brahman or does not, but who remains identified with pure consciousness or knowledge, is not merely a knower of Brahman, but Brahman itself. See, now we can go a little bit into the nature of this knowledge, what they are trying to tell us here. See, usually you understand anything through vrittis. That vritti is illumined by consciousness shining within ourselves, right? So, how do you know objects? Through thoughts, through ideas, through mentation. And the source factor for all these perceptions, cognitions is again consciousness. But now when you want to know consciousness itself, can you use a vritti? Tell me. No. Then how will you know? There should be some way of knowing. You cannot use a vritti because the vritti itself is illumined by consciousness. So it cannot reveal consciousness. Then how do you know it? That is why the mind has to be so trained that there is a deep pull within. You know, the Atman is like a magnet actually. It will pull all your sensation, mentation, cognition, everything within. If you have cultivated the heart center, if meditations and the spiritual practices have been done to such a measure, the Atma is like a magnet. Now it pulls the mind within. You don't require a vritti to know the highest consciousness. Because the mind becomes so pure with sadhana, it reflects that light. Now your mental awareness has increased to such an extent. Your awareness, which the reflected light, the witness consciousness has increased to such an extent that itself will show you the way. In first person experience, how does it happen? How does it feel? It feels like full awareness. Oh, I was living in half awareness. Now I awaken to full awareness. What a joy this experience is. It feels like that. See, partial awareness is partial life. Do you understand this? If we are only half awake, you experience only half a life. Full awareness is full life. So when you awaken into full awareness, you will understand automatically what they are saying. It is full life. Now you are getting the real taste of life. First person experience will feel like that. You are progressively becoming deeply aware. You live in full awareness. So even sense perceptions will be, mind-bending, you can say. Like they affect you deeply. Everything, the world will become suddenly so beautiful. For the simple reason, your awareness has enhanced. You have become deeply aware. And the fact of your identity is that you are aware, pure consciousness itself, the very heart of awareness you are. So when you touch that, then what to speak of experience? Everything else sort of, you can say everything else becomes illuminated by that. Many of our Upanishads are giving you this idea Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Three Upanishads are talking of this. Kathopanishad, Mundakopanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. Why are they talking of Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati? Means by the light of consciousness, everything is lit up. See, no other scripture is talking of it like this. It is by the light of consciousness that everything is lit up. Not just your mind and thoughts, but even this world of objects. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Because they are telling us, in full awareness alone is complete perception. In full awareness alone is full knowledge. Until then, we are like sleepwalking. If you have only partial awareness, you have only partial life. That's why confused mind. It's a torture, isn't it? Half-life. You have seen half-life in zoology laboratory. How that if a cockroach or frog, whatever is dissected, it's struggling for life. Half-life. You're torturing it. Half-life is torture. We don't understand that. Half-life, which we are living, is torture to the mind. That's why that deep feeling of, dissatisfaction, frustration, depression, and what are called existential angst. Anxious about what will happen to me. What will happen after death. All this is happening only because we are living half a life. When there is no full awareness, life will not blossom fully. Obviously, then I need gadgets to keep me happy. I can't stay happy by myself because no awareness within. Right? Is this correct? So understand how it works. See, all this joy born of senses and sense objects is acquired taste. It is not your original feeling of joy. Because of the inner depression, you are relying on something to keep your mind engaged in some way, and you are calling it some form of joy. So why should we live such a miserable, compromised life? When the truth of pure being is shining right within us. So this is what they are telling. See, the rishis, they sought to live for 100 years. You must have read in Ishavasya Upanishad. They are asking for maybe live 100 years of full life. This is the spirit of the Upanishads. They are not running away from life. They are entering full life, complete life, and not our kind of compromised vitality and compromised awareness. When you don't know where to find your joy and bliss, you will search for it in objects. And for many people, even people have become objects. So this level of degradation of mind can happen if we don't touch the heart of awareness. It's very beautifully put in Vivek Chudamani, it's like rolling a ball down a staircase, Shankaracharya says. The mind will go like that. If it doesn't get the touch of awareness, it is going to get morose. Sara jivan hai korte amra khatabo. And coming to spiritual life when you are too old to do spiritual practice is another problem. Practically, this is what is happening in our society. We don't introduce our children to any kind of spiritual sanskar. So when they actually come to this, they are incapable of actual spiritual practice. See, sadhana, to do sadhana, you require yog bal. So then you have to satisfy yourself with some kind of... so that is why I'm saying, before the child reaches that the critical age, in that pre-critical age itself, you must give spiritual sanskars, expose them to Thakur Ma Swamiji. See, these are all, you can say, bonfires of spirituality. If you just let your child develop love for them at that age, everything will be taken care of. In puro life and orientation, it will become very different. And this is what is lacking in Hindus. With this kind of a heritage, we have not been succeeded in making it practical to our generations. That's the problem. Then look at the 69th. This is very profound. See, he says, Jivanmukte parakashta jiva dvaita vivarjanat labhyate asavato atredamisha dvaita adivechitam, which means this liberation in life is the final step attained by sublating or removing the mental creations of the jiva projected on the world of Ishvara. So in this chapter, we have described how the duality created by the jiva differs from that created by Ishvara. See, this is a very important point in Panchadashi. There are two types of Srishti, he is saying. Two types of creation. One is Ishvar Srishti, the second is Jiva Srishti. Ishvar Srishti is the world created by God. It is the world of life and love and awareness and nature. Yes, it is the world which takes you into the higher consciousness. And Jiva Srishti is the world created by our untrained minds. It is the world of egoism, arrogance, conceit, pride, passion. Look at your media, it reveals your mind. It is a direct creation of the human mind. Violence, all kinds of obscenity. This itself shows Jiva Srishti is always opposite to Ishvara Srishti. The world is so beautiful. See, little children, when they grow up, they find very beautiful world around them. Gradually, after 6, 7, it changes. Because we go to educate them. Na? We ourselves who don't have education are educating that young mind. It's like they drop from the skies. So the Jiva Srishti, that is what he's saying, it's the Srishti of delusion, the deluded mind. Look at your own life, observe your day. You will see, what did the mind go after? Something negative, somebody said a bad word, or some kind of an anger or hatred, or I was just restless. So in that passion, you did so much of work. If the day goes like this is Jiva Srishti. We must strive to make every day a masterpiece. That is how you build spiritual life. Every day, right, starting from the morning, the thought of God, deep calmness and peace. No negative element in the mind. No matter what kind of people are around you, you know how to keep yourself balanced. Deep that Bhagavad Bhav shining in the heart and working on your enhanced awareness. Keeping the mind clean and clear. Japa whenever you are free. And Karma Yoga, Seva Bhav towards all. No negativities. No judgments. Judging is a very poor state of mind. Please know that. So you are taking care of your inner life now. Gradually you will see Ishvara Srishti. God made this world so that we go back into the consciousness of God. And He has made it so perfectly. See, living here you feel like that. He has made it so perfectly well. We are messing it up with our minds. People come here, here you can see that Raju's place. Many people come and stay there. And the same old tendencies are playing out. They will shout, they will scream, they will fight, and that media jargon is all the time going on. They can't keep quiet in a place like this. So you see, unless we are sensitive to the very nature of Ishvara Srishti, God's creation, we will simply have only Jiva Srishti. And in that we are doing judgments, comparing things, labeling people. First, when your house is on fire, first you must put out the fire of your own house. So this is what he's saying. Liberation in life is the final step attained by sublating or removing the mental creation of the Jiva. Jiva Srishti is to be removed and introduce your mind to Ishvara Srishti by purifying it. And then one sees that the two are different. The two are very different. God has put us into this world. See, many times this question comes up now. Why this world at all? Why did I come here? What is the purpose? The purpose is only one. The purpose is only this, that we go back to our origin. We go back to this Ishwar Bhav. We go back to the consciousness of God. But instead of doing that, we remain engaged with the external for a long time. This is the whole point he's trying to make. If you let Jiva Srishti overpower you, you will live in the world of conditioned mind, which is a very poor world, isn't it? So then you are so bored and tired of your own mind, you try to penetrate into other minds. You want the media, you want to see all sorts of things, enter into somebody's story and feel the confusion there. See, the very fact that we have created movies and theaters and all that is, we like to enter into somebody's confusion. Because we are so bored with our own. You just want to go out. See, if you are in an over-cluttered room, you will go and live in the guest room, isn't it? Like that, something like that. Now, this tendency of our mind to remain somehow engaged with something, you must corner it and see it for what it is, why this is happening. I told you 75% of our energies are wasted. Vital energy, mental energy, the energy of your thought, psychic energy, we are wasting it on a regular basis. Only 25% is really worthwhile, something worthwhile we are doing, and in that also about 5% we are using for sadhana. This will not do in spiritual life. Why that 75% energy is getting wasted is because of our compulsive tendencies. Compulsive ka kya matlab hai? In Hindi, I think you say majboor. Yes, you're compelled to do a particular thing. Because of, we have not put the foundational stones for the higher life. So compulsive habits will keep your energy rotating in such a way, it's not possible to do anything serious. So then 75% of energy is wasted in all sorts of unnecessary things. This must stop completely. If you want to enter the life of sadhana, this has to stop. See, that is why even inquiry doesn't work for many people. For the simple reason, their vitality is not in their hands. See, I'll now give you a big equation between vitality and awareness. You check it out here now, you are in a beautiful atmosphere, you check it out here and see for yourself if it works or not. If you are vitally alive, you will be intensely aware. Ar kichu lage na. Etai Shakti Puja Kintu, to be vitally alive within yourself. Your vitality you have handled in such a way, that is the Shakti coursing in your veins. If you handle it well, you are doing Shakti Puja. If Mother is pleased, she will reveal the knowledge of Brahman. If you are vitally alive, you will become intensely aware. That is the equation. So actually speaking, you don't work on awareness because you can't see it. Can you see or think of awareness? You can't. You can feel it. So when you work on your vitality, what do we mean by working on vitality? You preserve your vitality. You engage it in higher things. You regulate it in your own system. Commit it to the heart center. Plunge into sadhana. Don't talk anything other than this. One of the signs of a spiritual aspirant is doesn't talk much, and when talks also doesn't talk about unnecessary things at all, because mind has got trained. So it is very focused. Anya vacho vimunchata. Won't talk of anything else. What you will talk will impact you most. So badite giye simply talking something, you will lose the vitality required for sadhana. So these are the ways in which we lose vitality. Our psychic energy we lose by thinking all sorts of things, exposure to anything, and clashing with people. This also you should pray every day, that let all be well disposed towards me, and may I be well disposed towards everyone, so that engagement at that level will not trouble you in any way. Workplace eta hote hi pare, tai na? So you must preserve your wealth. Preserving vitality means this: I prevent the unnecessary wastage of my psychic energies. Amra maa ke Anjali di Durga Puja. We give Anjali, Argha, we give Mother everything. She is living in you, in your system, as your vitality, vital energy. Okhane ki apni arpan korle, ki dilen okhane. Are we even sensitive to it? She is the vital energy in our veins, and you worship her by preserving that energy, by directing that energy upward. It will unravel consciousness for us. Mar hate oi chabita ache, tai na? Shri Ma bolechen. Shri Ma Raja Maharaj ke jigyasha korechilen. Why mother worship is required? Why you can't do just inquiry and get Brahma Jnana? Why mother worship is required? And Raja Maharaj said, because mother has the key to liberation. That key is this. If you regulate your vital energy, I'm telling you, you will awaken to higher awareness. But if that is not worked upon, it is only imagination. We are only thinking about consciousness, which you can never do. Take care of these things. That's why how I lead my life, disciplining my life. This is worship of mother. Shuddu boshe ami star stuti korlam tarpor sabaike galagali dilam. Erakam bole hobe na. Worship of mother is a daily thing, daily affair. Every day, I use my energies in a way which pleases her. This is Shakti Puja. Atini ei puja nan. She accepts this puja, That's why you see in the life of the Shakti sadhak, they will make sure of all these things. I was in that Guwahati te jekon ami giyechilam, I was in Kamakhya Mandir for some time. Hundreds of such sadhaks I saw. Ki bhave boshe ache na, that itself is such an inspiring sight. Full concentration on mother. The real yogi type. And the whole life is regulated towards that purpose. Because they know that when they do that in that period, they will get that siddhi. So, kichu korle takhon ma sahajya kore. Taই না? Learn to handle your energies well. Awareness will unfold. Should do intellectual inquiry. See, your intellect is one of the highest expressions of your vital energy. Have no doubt about that. Our thought and our intelligence is the highest expression of Shakti within us. But don't think this is just an intellectual mechanism, the attainment of Brahma Jnana. The entire energy, if we learn to commit it to higher centers, raise it, automatically intellect at this level will lead to the highest awareness. So it all comes together, isn't it? That's why you see every philosophy is valuable. Our Indian philosophy is it's called darshan. Mane, window of clear insight into one truth. Each philosophy is a clear insight into one aspect of truth. You must utilize all to come to the ultimate truth. Everything is valid. Yes. In fact, in India, even the atheists were accepted, isn't it? A Charvak philosophy also is a philosophy. That is also accepted. Because a completely insensitive mind will only opt for only materialism. Isn't it? Or sense pleasure chai should do. But that itself will teach him that this doesn't satisfy. So even that had a place in our philosophies. And this highest Advait Vedanta, that also has a place. So you see, it is all a graded path. If you do sadhana, everything will fall into place. If we don't do sadhana, confusion will reign. And confusion has reigned for many centuries. Please remember this. Thakur, only when Thakur and Swamiji came, some kind of, you can say, rational understanding and harmony came into the different, it's called intra-religious harmony. Within Hinduism itself, everyone was at loggerheads with every other cult, sampradaya. The Dvaitins were against Vishishta Dvaitins, they were all against Advaitins. Every Shaivite was against Vaishnava, Vaishnava was against Shakta. This was common. They were all at loggerheads. Only with the coming of Thakur. Because he saw that every Joto Mat, Joto Path, every path is leading to the same consciousness. So whom to fight with? Otherwise, extreme amar chale gaye chilam. You read that history and see. Religious history of India. You read and see what extremes we have done. So focus on the essentials now. The coming of Thakur has put the entire focus. What are the essentials of spiritual life? Not to go and quarrel with somebody for the path he has taken. The essential is to purify my own mind and to unfold my awareness by handling my energies. This is the real sadhana. So with this we will end today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.